Oh, it's snowing out there, isn't it? Hey, Spartan Nation. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just finished my workout. It is time for What's Up Wednesday. Today's rendition of What's Up Wednesday. And today I am bringing you my top tips for building a business. So let me turn on my big light here too. Just get a little bit more light so I can see. What's Up Wednesday? It is the last Wednesday in February. Can you believe that? Good morning, good morning. Today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we get an extra day, which is exciting. 4 more days left in February, 4 more days left in Team Cup. Normally it'd be 3, but this is a leap year. So we're leaping into bigger goals and bigger dreams, leaping into helping more people and using that extra day to make a bigger difference. And I was thinking this week as I was putting together this coach info group and just listening to the absolutely stellar national wake-up calls that we've had the past several weeks, just really incredible and very inspiring. And also, while I'm doing this, I decided to do this upstairs, so you're absolutely going to hear my dogs eating their bones that I just gave them to hopefully keep them quiet while I was doing this. But the light was so much better up here, and while I'm not a fan of the snow, it is, when I look out right now, gently snowing and quite pretty. And then I hope it all goes away. So you're just going to have to be okay with hearing my dogs eat their bones while we're doing this. But the last few weeks of National Wake Up Calls have been particularly stellar and inspiring for me, and I hope for you as well. And as I've been gathering information, putting this Coach Info group together, something I've been thinking about are my top tips for building a business. And every time I speak, every time I do any kind of event, you get a lot of the same questions because y'all, I don't care how many years we've been doing this, and almost 12 for me. The business is the business. The business is the business. We can get all mired in the muck of, the algorithm has changed and social media has changed and everyone's, no, the business is the business, period. So the questions that I get over the 12 years, the situations that happen, the relationships, the challenges, the fires that we have to put out, the questions that we get asked are almost always the same. They just are. And so as I was listening to these particularly stellar national wake-up calls recently and putting together this Coach Info group, I thought, what if I just sat down and wrote out my 5 top tips for building this business? Now, I've got 12 years of experience almost. I have more than 5, but when I gave myself that question, I rattled off 5 in 10 seconds. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 seconds. And so today I want to share those with you, maybe expound on them a little bit more, share a couple pieces from the books that the one that I just finished and the one that I always share from, and kind of and sort of expand a little bit on these ideas. So today, What's Up Wednesday, last Wednesday in February, I have 5 tips for building this business. And frankly, sort of like the information that I shared last week, I really think they're 5 tips for building a life. And that's what makes this business so beautiful, because everything we do in this business translates to our life. So everything we have to work out, everything we have to figure out, every relationship we have to get better at, every speaking opportunity, every interaction, everything about this business makes our lives better if we let it, because there's no skill set in this business that is indigenous only to this business. Every skill set in this business translates to life, period. So these 5 tips, much like the information that I shared last week from the reading that I was doing, these 5 tips, I've labeled them 5 tips to grow a business, and I'm going to speak to them like that, but I also want you to know they can be 5 tips for building your life. So here we go. Number one, go all in with no plan B. When I think back to joining as a coach 12 years ago, And I know that I've said this to you before, and I'm saying it to you again. I grew up with 0 female entrepreneurs in my life, 0 female role models building a business, 0 females working out. None. 0. No females are working out in my life. So I didn't have that experience or that role model from which to draw. And yet when I got into this business, it was pretty obvious. I did not know how. I did not know how to grow it. I didn't know how it was going to happen. But it was pretty obvious pretty quickly that this business could be a way to improve my life in some way. We were super broke. We had 3 children. I was a fitness instructor and master trainer. My husband is a football coach. Really cool jobs that don't pay a lot of money. And we were both, following our curiosity, which had turned into our passions, but we weren't making any money. And I'm looking at this life, I'm looking at these 3 children, and I'm thinking, how the heck am I going to support them in their goals and dreams? And along came this business. And remember, with no role model, no one to watch growing up going, well, maybe if I'm an entrepreneur, I can build a business. I just looked at it and went, well, this seems kind of interesting. I'm going to follow my curiosity. It feels like a bigger platform on which I can help people. Let me see where it goes. And I went all in. At no point in 12 years, 0 times, at no point did I ever say, well, I think I'm going to quit. At no point did I ever fill out that cancellation form and then not. At no point have I ever gotten so mired in the muck of my own frustration and challenges that I just sat there and did nothing. At no point. That is not to say there have not been ups and downs, peaks and valleys. Not everything is puppies and rainbows and unicorns, but I absolutely never had my hand on the back door. Let me just give this a month and see if it works out. Let me give this a month and see if it works out. My husband, who is a collegiate football coach, no one in his family was a college football coach. Every single person in his family, well, the women didn't work. Every single male in his family was a banker. He was a college football coach. Do you think that he said, going into this profession, you know what, let me give this a month into the season and see if I like it, and then I'll make a decision? Absolutely not, or we wouldn't be here 20 plus years later. Do you think my orthodontist that I have to go to, well, let me check this thing out for a month. After years and years and years and years of school, let me check this thing out for a month. And if I'm not making, 6 figures in a month, I'm out. What? So my first tip for you to build this business is you have to go 100% all in with no plan B. Your hand cannot be on the back door. There is no, well, if it doesn't work out in a month, I'm going to quit. Why would anyone quit a business where every single piece of it makes your life better? Whether you decide to build a business or not, every single piece of this business makes our lives better. We're better when we have movement in our lives. We're better when we have good nutrition in our lives. We're better when we're putting good brain fuel in our lives. We're better when we have a community of people around us, lifting us up, empowering us, inspiring us, helping us move towards our goals. We're better with all of that in our lives. Hands down, period, no matter if we decide to build a business or not. So why would there ever be, well, let me just give it a month and see if it works? And what does if it works mean? I just never had that in my head. And, if you would have looked at me when I began as a coach and looked at my beginning trajectory to see if that determined how long I was going to stay or how big of a business I'd build or what I was going to do with it, you would have said, yeah, she's probably not going to do anything with it. I just never gave up. I went all in. It looked like it was going to be something that could make my life better, so I went all in. I've never at any point in time entertained the idea of quitting. I've never at any point in time gotten so mired in the days that weren't so great that I thought of quitting. I just kept going. There is no plan B. So my number one tip for you, if you want to build this business, any business, actually, if you want to create an extraordinary life, you better go all freaking in. Now, don't get it twisted. That does not mean you have to work 24/7. It means in your heart and in your soul and in your spirit There's no plan B. There's no hand on the back door. You're going to make this work because you love it so much. You're going to follow your curiosity down this path of this business and see where it leads you. Number one, you have to go all in. Number two, take agency over your business to take agency over your life. What does that mean? Take agency over your business to take agency over your life. You want to practice taking ownership in your life of what happens? There's no better place to practice than this business. Take agency over your business. That means be resourceful. 99.9% of the time, the questions that come at us as coaches from our challengers and from our coaches are questions they could figure out. Yes? Most of the time. Most of the time, the questions that we get from our challengers and coaches that we're on the receiving end of, the asker could figure it out. Y'all, do you know how many times my husband asked me the same question over and over and over again when he has an undergraduate degree and 2 master's degrees. He can figure it out. So do you know what I do? I do not answer him. When he asks me a question that he can figure out, I do not answer him. I just simply go, well, you know the answer to that. And I move on. Because I am absolutely not going to empower or enable that situation. He can figure that out. So if we want to take agency over our life and we want to, by design, on purpose, intentionally create a life, we can practice that and do that in our business. We can take agency over our business. So go back 12 years ago when I was the only Beachbody coach in Indiana, and there was no team, there were no trainings, we didn't have a very good back office, there was no Super Saturdays, there were no live events, none of that. I came into the business from a fitness perspective. I came in as a fitness instructor, master trainer. And to me, the thing that brings people together are live events. So I just took agency over my business and said, well, it seems to me, mind you, no one's telling me this. I'm just kind of figuring out and trying. That's the cool thing about this business. We can try, and if it doesn't work, we can try something else and try something else and try something else. And I thought, well, it seems like live events bring people together in fitness. When I teach a class, when I do a training, live events bring people together in fitness. Well, we're a health and fitness company. So it feels like live events could bring people together. So I'm just going to take agency over my business and I'm going to start doing live events. So I did. I wrote a check to have Brett Hobel, our trainer back then, he did Rev Abs. He was on Biggest Loser. Come and do a live event for us. I wrote a check to have Chalene Johnson come. I wrote 2 really big checks to have Sean T come here 2 times. I just started doing live events, but I didn't start there. We started right here at this kitchen table, this that I'm standing in front of, this very one. This kitchen table, this is where my business started. And this is where those live events started, right here, with a teeny tiny team doing potluck dinners and pizza parties on a Sunday evening. We gather right here because I took agency over my business and said, okay, I know that live events work. Let me gather people in a live event. No one told me to do that. We did live events before they were Super Saturday events. We just did them because I took agency over my business. If you want your business to grow, you have to take agency over your business. You have to step into owning your business. Nothing that happens is anyone else's fault or responsibility. It's your business. That's the beautiful thing about it. And here's what's so cool. As we practice stepping into ownership of our business, that gives us the tools for stepping into ownership of our life. And that is why when I say there's everything about this business that translates into our life, it does. It absolutely does. So that's tip number 2. Take agency over your business to take agency over your life. You want a more extraordinary life? You get to create it. You want something to change? Change. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that so freaking cool? Be resourceful. Number 3, no play on words of a program, but this is the truth. The work works. Period. The work works. You have to be coachable and you have to be open and you have to constantly be a student. I'm not very smart or creative or talented or good at a lot of things, but one thing that I'm pretty good at is being a student. I really like learning. And I think I'm pretty coachable and I've gotten intentionally better at being coachable because I knew that was the only way that my business was going to grow. Because here's the bottom line. If we want our business to grow, we have to grow. We, as John Maxwell says in his 21 Laws of Leadership, we will always be the lid on our business. We will always be the lid on our life. Period. See how this business reflects life? It's the same thing. We'll always be the lid on our business. We'll always be the lid on our life. So if we think we know it all, if we decide to build this business on an island, why would anyone do that? And I do not understand that. Why anyone goes off and sort of does their own thing. But to each their own. If we decide not to continue learning, if we decide we think we know it all, if we decide that what some new coach is doing, well, that doesn't work for me because she doesn't have kids, so clearly she doesn't understand. Or if we see a male coach doing something, we're like, well, that won't work for me because he's a male coach. If we put up blocks and resistance and we stop learning and we stop being coachable, our business is done. And quite frankly, so is our life. And I know I've talked about this a little bit before, but I'll tell you straight up, I have watched this play out in real life with my mom. She's 92 years old. So for as long as I've been an adult and been aware of this growth mindset, fixed mindset situation, I have watched someone who's not coachable, who's not a student of life, who's not open to learning, I've watched that play out in real life, and I've watched my mom since my dad passed away almost 18 and a half years ago, kind of be done, just stopped. When 18 years have passed by where she could have traveled and learned, she could have learned a new language, she could have gone to a foreign country, she could have taken them a new hobby, she could have done all these amazing things, but she just stopped because she's not a student of life. And when we are like that, our business is done. It's dead in the water. The work works. The vital behaviors work. And when we try to make it more complicated, when we want to get all in our head and make it all extra and put all these layers on top of it, and why isn't this working faster? And I'm not keeping my eyes on my own paper, and I'm looking around at everyone else. When we're doing all of that, we take our eyes off the work. We stop being coachable. Our business stops. Period. But when we remember that the work works, doing the work works. Remember what I shared last week? When in doubt, take action. Always, always, always. When in doubt, take action. So the work works. And if we know that, then as Kate Schultes shared on a little mastermind call that I did yesterday with some of our newer coaches who are on fire, if you're doing anything else besides the business activity tracker, you may want to rethink what you're doing, because the business activity tracker works. The business activity tracker works. So the work works, period. If you're coachable, if you're a student, if you're open, if you're learning, if you're receiving, if you're giving, if you're present, if you're, as Bob Iger says, if you're on property, which means in the park, if you're in the park, on property, being open, the work will work. If you're sequestered on an island saying you know it all and that nobody else knows anything and what they're doing doesn't relate to you, then your business is not going to grow, and neither will your life. So that's number 3. Number 4. I might keep number 4 and number 5 together. Number 4 is keep it simple. And number 5 is let's have some freaking fun while we're doing it. Number 4 is keep it simple. As I've said, I am not super great at graphics. And by not super great, I mean not good at all. I'm not good at graphics. There's a lot of I'm not good at the compensation plan. There's a lot of pieces of this business that I'm not good at. There are pieces of the business that I'm pretty good at. So I keep it simple in my life, and I do those things. If we are trying to create all the graphics in the world and we're doing that instead of inviting, we've got our focus in the wrong place. We're not keeping it simple anymore. If we are focused on sending all the invites and now all we're thinking about is have they responded and they've said no and we're not keeping it simple anymore. Keep this business simple. The goal of the business is for Sally down the street to look at us and go, oh, she's just working out in her basement and making a shake and reading a book and kind of hanging out with some really cool people. I could do that. Those are the magic words. I could do that. That's what you want. That's what you want people to think. That's what you want people to feel. Oh, I could do that. When you walk into a room and you've been on your health and fitness journey and you have been so focused on your gratitude and on your goals and you are feeling good and you walk into a room and people feel that passion and that light and that energy emanating from you and they look at you and go, I want some of that. And you tell them what you do and they say, I could do that. That's keeping it simple. That's keeping it simple. Worrying about checklists and graphics and all the things is not. Corporate has created a tracker for us. Corporate has created onboarding for us. You have a 12-year veteran team that runs challenge groups for all of you to join. You don't have to do all the things. You've got to invite, you've got to follow up, you've got to share, you've got to be pressing play, drinking a shake, reading a book, inviting other people to join you, using the business activity tracker, and keeping it simple. So that Sally Joe down the street looks at you and goes, I want some of what she has. I could do that. The minute they stop saying that, we've complicated the business. The minute we've complicated the business, we can't replicate it, and nobody wants a part of that. Nobody wants more busy or more complicated in their life. What we do solves problems for people. What we do takes problems out of their life. It takes stress out of their life. If we are complicating the business, we are adding stress into our life. Nobody wants more of that. Nobody wants more of that. We want to keep the business simple. So in all our messaging, but more importantly, in all our actions, are you keeping it simple? Are you focusing on the activities that produce the greatest return on investment? What are those activities? As Kate Schulte said yesterday, showing up well on social media, dialing into the vital behaviors, and inviting people to join you. That's it. That's it. And isn't that like, thank goodness that's all I have to think about. I mean, that should be such a relief that the way I've built this business over the past 12 years is by keeping it simple. And last, you got to have some fun about this because what we do, y'all, we change lives every single day. We get to change lives every single day. And here's the thing, and I have been there. And are you kidding me that in 12 years, you think there's anything that I haven't experienced, any conversation I haven't had, any feeling that I haven't felt? Whatever feeling you're feeling at some point in your journey, yes, I have felt it. I have been there. I'm a Scorpio, type A, Enneagram 3. Are you kidding? I feel all the feelings times 1,000. All of them. I just keep them all in here. They're just all in here. And then sometimes someone like Jen Moore messages in our group and goes, I think I'm going to be diamond tomorrow. And I cry in my bathroom. But nobody sees that because I'm just keeping them right in here. I feel all the feelings. There are no feelings that you can feel that I have not felt. So I understand when we feel frustrated. I understand when we feel challenged. I understand when we're not feeling joy. And here's what else I understand from experience. That's a choice. 12 years, that has taught me that's a choice. If you are not having fun in this business, when I am not having fun in this business, it's a choice. It's a choice. And then what happens, we start going, I'm not having fun in this business. I'm not having fun in this business. I'm not having fun in this business. I should quit. Like, I don't know where that jump goes. Because let me ask you this. When my husband does not have a championship winning season, do you think he comes home and goes, I'm not having fun in this business. I should quit? Like, no, that never comes out of his mouth. He's like, okay, we've got some challenges. Let's see how we can solve these problems. Let's see how we can figure this out. We got to have some fun. And then before you know it, the next practice, he's got popsicles for the players. He's had, like, right now, this is such a guy thing. They have a foosball machine in the locker room. So right now they have a foosball tournament going on during spring practice. Why? Because it's fun. Because it's just fun to have a foosball contest tournament going on during spring practice. It's just fun. That's the stuff that he's learned over 20 plus years of coaching. What I have learned over 12 plus years of being a Beachbody coach is if I'm not having fun in this business, that's on me, because I am getting in my head and I'm getting mired in the muck of stuff that I am creating in my head. And that's on me. And I can make a different choice. So then I start to think, well, what do I love about this business? You know, when people say to share on social media and to talk about your interests outside of Beachbody, I always laugh because one of my interests really is fitness. I really do love it. I love it so much. So if I'm not having fun in this business, I go back and go, well, am I not enjoying my program? Okay, well, I'm still going to finish my program that I'm doing, but what else could I add in to bring me some joy back into my fitness? Do I feel off in my nutrition? Probably. Okay, so what can I do to bring some joy back in there? Am I not loving the book that I'm reading? Maybe. Okay, so let me just put that down and start again. Let's make a different choice. Do I feel disconnected from my community? Okay, well, what would be fun? Well, let's do lunch, or let's do something. Let's do a Zoom workout. Let's do whatever. And I start intentionally looking at all the pieces of the business that I love, which is all of it. And then where have I lost my joy? Where am I not having fun? And then I just figure it out and create opportunities for fun. Because quitting isn't the solution, because we don't get to quit everything in life just because we're not having fun. Not having fun is an intentional choice that we're making by not seeking it out every day. You remember that question that I've asked a bunch of times on here, what inspires you? And if you can't answer that, you need to work on answering that. So I would say to you, if you're not having fun in your business, what does bring you joy? And when do you have fun in your business? And if you're not doing that all the time, then find ways to get back to it. You know, if you feel like your messaging is not reaching the right people, take a look at that. Self-awareness is key. Take a look at that messaging to reach the right people, to bring those people into your ecosystem, because there's nothing more fun than connecting, I'm just going to say women, for me, more so than men, than connecting women with tools I know that can change their lives. That's really freaking fun. What else is really freaking fun is watching coaches light up and then do the same. That's really freaking fun for me to do. If I'm not finding that, then I got to go back and figure out why that is and intentionally create situations in my life to have fun. If you felt like you hadn't had a date night with your spouse for a while and you knew you needed it, you would create that opportunity. You would schedule a date night. So if you're not having fun in your business, rather than moping around going, I'm so frustrated and defeated, why don't you say, well, you know what is fun for me? XYZ, and then do that. Because I guarantee you, when you start having fun in your business and you walk into that room of people that maybe haven't seen you or family members or whatever, and they feel your light and your energy, what are they going to say? I want some of that. And then you tell them what you're doing and they say, oh, I could do that. That looks like fun. And then you're right back to keeping it simple. So the two are really connected. All right, 5 tips. 5 tips for building a business. Number 1, go all in, zero plan B. Zero plan B. And remember, I want to be really clear on this. It doesn't mean that you're building some ginormous multi-million-dollar business if that's not your goal. But if you want this business to have any kind of impact on your life, you have to go all in with it and not be entertaining the thought that you might quit. Period. You're just removing that option from your life. No matter what kind of business you want to build, you're simply removing the option of there being a plan B from your life. That's how I've built this business over the past 12 years. At no point in time was there ever the option that I wasn't going to be building it. So if you want to know, how do you get a multi-million-dollar business? How do you stay so obsessed with this business 12 years in? How do you send 3 kids to college on this business? Insert income disclaimer. There's no plan B. I've gone all in. That's number 1. Number 2, take agency over your business. To take agency over your life, be resourceful. We can figure out so much, we can just figure out so much. We're so much smarter than we give ourselves credit for. There's so much we can figure out. And in this day of instant gratification, sometimes we take the easy way out by asking the question. Not to say you shouldn't be asking questions, but there's so much that we can figure out. There's so much we can be proactive on. And I guess that's a better word than asking questions, because I was reading, this book today, and he talks so much about that. this mindset of being proactive. So that's really what I'm saying when I'm saying take agency over your business, to take agency over your life. Be resourceful, be proactive. Think about that word in your business from this point on. How am I being proactive? Because our business should never come down to one coach being inactive somewhere and then the entire business falls like a house of cards. Be proactive in your business. That's actually better than taking agency. I like that better now that I've worked through that. I'm just going to write that down. Be proactive. Number 2. Okay. Number 3, the work works. If you actually are coachable, if you're a student of life, if you're continuously open, if you are like this open, in my head, as zenny as this might feel, I really feel like my heart open and just, or like a vessel, like a cup of, I want all the knowledge. I want the river of knowledge to come into me to make me better, because you deserve that. You as this team that have put trust into our team, into me, into your upline coach, you deserve a leader, a person who's at their best and learning so that I can bring those resources to you. My job is not to build the business for you. My job is to give you as many resources as possible to help you build your business. My job is to help you see and understand and embrace and dig out and share the potential that you have in you. That's my job. So I just walk around like, what can I learn? 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 And that reminds me over and over and over again, over 12 years, that the work works. If you want a business that will send your kids to college, you got to do the work. It's not hard. We've talked about this a million times. It's not hard. Fighting cancer is hard. Losing a parent is hard. Losing a child is hard. There are situations in life that are absolutely, truly, no question, hard. This is just work. Heart work. Not hard work. It's heart work. What we do works if we do the work. Number 4, keep it simple. Keep it simple. And also, and I know I've said this before, but I'm saying it again. If we could take the word overwhelm and just remove it from our vocabulary, that'd be amazing. Nobody's overwhelmed. Some of the stuff that we're learning is just new. Some of the stuff in our schedule is just new. And we're learning how to integrate it, and we're learning how to process it and absorb it and put it out into the world. None of us are overwhelmed. We're all so capable and so smart and so much potential. We're so much smarter than we give ourselves credit for. We're so much more capable than what we give ourselves credit for. And it's like this information comes into our brain and it's just new. And so we go, we're overwhelmed. No. Stop. It's just new. And we'll figure it out. And the more simple we keep it, the more easily we figure it out. And the more simple we keep it, the more easily we share it. Right? Okay. And then last, number 5, have fun. And that is a choice that you make every single day with intention. If you're not having fun in your business, that's on you and you need to change it. That is not on me to organize some big fancy Spartan Nation party, although I would love nothing more than to have a reason to organize a big Spartan Nation party. So let's do that. That's not on me to do so that you have fun in your business, because I have fun in my business standing in my office by myself. So have some fun on purpose with intention. Now, last, I'm going to share with you a couple pieces from the books. I just finished this book. I highly recommend it. And I even marked the page this time. So this was something that I wrote and dog-eared the page. It takes time. Okay, again, this is John Maxwell, The Leader's Greatest Return. It takes time for little things to add up. Be consistent. It takes time for little things to add up. Be consistent. That should be the overarching theme of all of this, because again, I'm telling you, I'm not that smart, I'm not that creative, I'm not that talented. The thing that I am is I just go all in and I just keep going all in. I'm just so redonkulously consistent that it's almost annoying. I mean, I know that people are watching my Instagram stories going, does she really wake up like that every morning? Yeah, I really do. Does she really like working out? Yeah, I really do. And you know what? I'm just going to keep showing up every day, all day long, from now until the end of time, inviting you to my challenge group from now until the end of time, because I'm just that consistent. It takes time for little things to add up to big things. I did a class one time, and there was a girl there who took my class. She might have been a Beachbody coach. She took my class, and I had 100 plus people in my class. Taught a turbo class, 100 plus people in my class. And after class, she found me, she said to me, I want my class to have 100 people in it. I want my class to have 100 people in it. I'm like, awesome. Where do you teach? She goes, oh, I don't teach yet. And I said, oh, are you certified? She said, no, but I'm going to get it, and I want my class. That's what I want my class to be. I want my class to have 100 people in it. And what she wanted was what I had spent years building up. But she wanted it like tomorrow. When I first started teaching group exercise, do you know the time slots that I taught? 1:30 in the afternoon. Who comes to a kickboxing class at 1:30 in the afternoon? Do you know? I know, me and like 3 others. That was it. That's what I did. I taught aqua kickboxing. Old women in swimsuits, in the water, complaining about how cold the water was, kickboxing at the Y. And also, all those old women also change and walk around naked in the locker room afterwards. I don't even know about that. But I taught every heinous time slot there possibly could be for I don't know how long, until I got that 9 a.m. time slot. I was consistent. I consistently showed up. It does not happen overnight. If you are a coach and you are working and you're a newer coach and you're working so hard to find your 3 people every month, keep working. That's the flywheel that you have to get going. It takes time for little things to add up to big things. There is an incredible compounding power of consistency. If you do the right things day in and day out, even though they may be small, they add up. Do you know what the opposite of that is? If you don't do the things every day, that also adds up to a crap life that you don't want. It takes time for them to add up, but they do add up. You don't have to be the rabbit to win the race. You don't have to have a major head start in life to win. You can go at your pace, and as long as you keep doing the little things day after day, week after week, year after year, decade after decade after decade, it adds up. John Maxwell says, as someone who has lived it, I can tell you that it's worth it. As someone who has lived it and is living it every day, I can tell you that it's worth it. I look at, can I say this without, I hope I can say, I'm going to tell you that. The right choices plus consistency plus time equals significant returns. The right choices plus consistency plus time equals significant returns. You know what the opposite does? Not good choices plus consistency plus time, significant returns. The other way, right? Okay, the right choices plus consistency plus time, significant returns. So there's an incredible compounding power of consistency. Choices, consistency, time. Choices, consistency, time. Every single moment is a choice. Are we going to send one more invite? Or are we going to say, oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm not having any fun. I'm not going to do it. Because that's going to add up too. Are we going to choose to send more invites? Are we going to choose to keep our eyes on our own paper? Are we going to choose to stay in our own lane and not worry about what else is going on? Are we going to choose to do the work? Are we going to choose to know that the work works? And we're going to get up and do that consistently over time? Because if we are, you're going to be where I am 12 years from now, still so obsessed with this business and learning something new every single day. Every single day. And then last, let me open up the king, Bob Iger, and tell you this. So he had been the CEO for quite some time. Major acquisitions, Pixar, Star Wars, etc. When they bought 20th Century Fox, this is what he writes about. The response from Wall Street went far beyond anything we anticipated. In 2015, our stock had dropped when I talked about disruption. Now it was soaring. The day after our investors conference, it jumped 11% to a record high. By the end of the month, it was up nearly 30%. That stretch through the spring of 2019 was as good as any. We released Avengers Endgame, which would eventually go on to be the highest grossing movie of all time. That was followed by the opening of our new Star Wars land, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. It was followed by an agreement to purchase Comcast's remaining stake in Hulu, which will serve as our subscription streaming service for the content that will not be on Disney+. If the past has taught me anything, it was that a company with this size, a team of this size, a team of your size, with a footprint in the world and so many employees, so many team members, something will happen. Not everything will always be good. But the 15 years of hard work had paid off. The 15 years of hard work had paid off. When he started as a CEO, they did not own Pixar. They did not own Star Wars. They did not have Disney Plus. They did not own 20th Century, on and on and on. They did not have Marvel. None of that. For 15 years, he very steadily got up and very consistently did the work, and all of a sudden, 15 years later, he looks up and Disney is back to where it was when Walt was in charge, when Michael Eisner first took over. 15 years. Not 15 days and not 15 months. So, do you have to work this business for 15 years to see a return on investment? Absolutely not. But you have to go all in your hearts. In your heart, you have to go all in. You have to be proactive. You have to remember that the work works and be coachable. You have to keep it simple. And you have to choose to have fun with it. Because I am talking to you in my workout clothes from my kitchen table where this team started on a Wednesday morning when I could be teaching high school English. And if that's your thing, that's awesome. That's just not my thing. This, you and me, this is my thing. And I get to do that, and so do you. This is what we get to do every single day. We get to change lives every single day. And you made me write down 2 weeks ago that we are going to be a top 10 team by the end of this year, 2020. You made me do that, so I did that. So it's all on you. And so we are moving that direction. We are moving that direction. I want you to take these tips and think, what can you do today? What can you do today to move your business forward? Every step you move your business forward, you move the team forward. And every time you're moving your business forward, you're changing a life. You're making a ripple effect. You're throwing another pebble in the pond for this ripple effect that we get to create every single day. We get to do this every single day. We get to do this every single day. And when we get to the end of the year, and we've been led by our curiosity down this incredible path of what would it feel like to be a top 10 team. And we followed our curiosity down that way. And we've stayed focused and driven, knowing that what we're doing is changing lives. When we get to the end of this year, we will know it will be because of those small activities done every single day. If you think that your small activities, if you think, well, I'm just a new coach I signed on last month, you count, baby, you count. If you're on this team, every single coach on this team, your actions matter. You're throwing a pebble in the pond or you're not. Someone threw a pebble in the pond and you caught it and you're here. Someone threw a pebble in a pond and you caught it and you're here, and your life is different because of it. Are you going to keep your pebbles to yourself? Or are you going to throw them in a pond, create a ripple effect, do everything in your power to create a life that you design, and everything in your power to help this team achieve something that has, in 12 years, never one time been on any goal board, vision board, anything that I've ever written? Are you going to do that? Because we can together, and it'll be magical. That's what's up on this Wednesday. Let's make it a great one.